Baby dolls, Bitcoin to $600,000. Is it going to get there? Let's find out. You see, there's been a sea change, and by the time you're listening to this video, I noticed it pretty early. I listen to a lot of Bitcoin Maxis. They are Bitcoin only, they're Bitcoin everything, right? And if you've been listening to my channel, you know this is nothing new. They're communities. We understand the tribe. There are leaders. There are influencers. You got to stay within the community. You got to pump the community. You can't let anyone leave. You got to convince everyone we are the best community. So Bitcoin Maxis, they have been pivoting their marketing messages. I tweeted about this a long time ago. I noticed it. I'm very early to the sea change of this. I can see these things when they happen because I'm here 18 hours a day, man. Doing all this work and research. I'm here to give it to you, right? If you dare to listen. So now Bitcoin Maxis, they're focusing on gold. Why? Gold is 11 trillion market cap versus Bitcoin, 400 billion, 500, 600 billion, okay? They are focusing less on Ethereum and crypto, okay? Why? Well, I think it's because they know they've lost. But they won't say that. Of course they're not going to say that, man. They've got to keep you in the game. They're not going to tell you that. I think it's because they just want to go for a bigger game. That's how they're going to rationalize it. They're not going to tell you, well, we can't beat Ethereum. We can't beat crypto. We can't beat the adoption and the tech. And everybody's solving problems. And everyone who's dropped a bit of decentralization to get better price performance, right? Better technical performance. More transactions. They're not going to tell you that. They're just going to tell you, we've won. We are decentralized. Everything else is a security. So put us in our own unique label, right? Of course they're going to say that. They've got to convince you to hold. They've got to convince everyone to hold. Go to any country in hyperinflation. The president and the leaders, they don't say, yeah, it's gone to shit, friends. They don't say that. They got to keep you in the game. And sometimes they say, well, anybody leaving, we'll just shoot you. Okay? But this is different. We're in digital cyberspace. They can't put a gun in your head. So they have to send a different message to you. Okay? Aren't you glad that I can see this and relay it to you, right? So I conclude here, the Bitcoin network effect is diminishing. They have to grab value from gold holders. Okay? So we got to understand that Bitcoin is right here. You have the chart. If it was to match gold's market cap, it's about $600,000, around that zone. And we have to think about the powerful network effect that's going to be required to get there. It's a lot, friends. It's a lot, If you want to do basic numbers, okay? So with Metcalfe's law, it's a bit hard because there's a lot of spam addresses. And then you make the argument, you go, well, what about daily active users? And then the problem is, with a store of value like Bitcoin, you're using it just by owning it, So technically, everyone uses it. But then again, I don't know if that's going to be a real measurement, right? But right now, it's about 40 million people, okay? There are about 1 billion, with a B, addresses, but everybody spams them and makes them. It means nothing, right? So I like this number, 40 million. So we just know, right, from about 20,000, okay, from about 20,000. Look, actually, I want to let you know this. So in my previous videos and tweets, I figured out that Bitcoin's rough fair value is like 30 to 40K. So by the time you read this message, you see this video, I don't know what price of Bitcoin's going to be, but it's undervalued here. It's undervalued even at 15, 16K, right? 30 to 40K seems to be about that fair value based off the number of users. So this is where I want to get to. So if you want to do a multiple of a price increase and you want to see how many users we need to get, you have to decide here. You go, do you want to do it from today, around 20,000, or do you want to do the number from 40,000? Because they give you two different requirements in terms of how many people you need to reach the target. Okay, but if we just use basic Metcalfe's law, let's say it's from 20,000. Let's just assume the market's fair today. It's around 20K. 620 you get about a 30x multiplier on price. So if you want to find out how many users you need to add, you just find the square root of it. Click 5.4. So you need 5.4x on your 40 million people. So 40 million people use Bitcoin, right? And you want it, and so to get to gold market cap, we need 5.4x more people, right? So that's about 220 million-ish, 200 million. Let's just say 200 million, get some euphoria in there. 200 million people. All right, that's what you need. So now you got to think, all right, well, I do think Bitcoin's better than gold. However, we need a lot of people, man. We need a lot of people, friends, to get there. So the Bitcoin Maxis, obviously, they're not talking about this. Why? They don't see everything as a number. They don't see it like this. They believe they've won. So when you are in the heart of the community and you have the leaders and the founders and just the people who are like really deep, the elders of the tribe, right? They don't tell you, hey, we have 40 million people here. We've got to get to 200 million. They don't focus on that. Instead, what they say is, let me get my paper out, right? They say things like, right, let's move this down here. They will say the bullish stuff, right? They will say, we've already won, okay? We are the most pure. We are the decentralized crypto, right? Everything else is a security. That's what they say, okay? They try to distance themselves from this number part, okay? Because they don't want you to put a lid on the rocket. They don't want you to put a lid on the roof at all, okay? They also will mention stuff like, you don't need more users. Why? We have no top because the USD has no bottom, okay? Infinite money printing. They'll also say that. So all these talking points, I hope when you're, by the way, I made a typo here. Sorry, you've already won. Yeah, so when you hear this, I hope this rings a bell. If you go listen to them, this is what they speak about. And this is normal, man. We're not here to judge. We're not saying right or wrong, but this is what happens deep within the community. This is what I've observed. I'm just sharing it with you. These are the talking points. They have to convince everyone not to sell. How do you convince the tribe not to sell? You go, okay, well, we're the most pure. We've won. Don't leave. Right? Don't leave. Don't go for the other race. Don't go for the other community. You're leaving, man. So they can't win if everyone leaves. Of course, they got to put this message out. And why I'm here to protect you is because it's easy for you to say this narrative when you got in at, $300 Bitcoin, $500 Bitcoin, right? And now you have to convince people at 50K that they're early, all right? You are 100x. But they don't tell people that. No one in Bitcoin says, yeah, man, I got in at $500. They never say that. They don't say that, man. Never. They say there's no price on this. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin and this and that. These memes, they're just memes, man. They're memes put in your head. Most people don't actually need all of this stuff. We only need food, water, and shelter. All right? We don't actually really need all these, Like, you don't really need Uber Eats. You don't really need Google Search. You don't really need all this crypto stuff. They're useful, but just have a think about that, man. And that's why I would rather you protect yourself by thinking about, where did this poopy head get in? That's what I'm always thinking about. You want to know why I am always ahead of the game? When I see someone's head appear, I think, okay, this guy's bearish. I wonder where he sold. I wonder what his portfolio is. And I'll go and find out, he's 80%, 100% USDC. Okay? Another thing, this guy's bullish. He's bullish on his chain. I'll go, look at the numbers. Okay, well, they're not winning. Why is he still bullish? I go, I know, this guy bought ages ago. There's a guy on Grant Cardone. Some XRP guy calls up and he says, XRP is going to take over the world. The government's going to have to buy up our coin. And then Grant Cardone asks him, where did you buy XRP? And the guy said 0.004. Tiny amount. And he only put in like $50, which is funny. So it gives you an idea, right? When people are in early, they have a tendency to be more loud, to get other people to think they're early. Just like Bitcoin here, 50K, $500, man. 100x different. $500. I know Bitcoin Maxis got in at $500. I know there are out there, okay? So yeah, of course they're going to tell you early at 50k. They're 100x on side, man. Right? And they're always going to use the same argument of, well, you know, imagine you listen to you when someone bought it at $10 or $1 and you're buying at $100. You would think that you're buying their bag and you shouldn't get in, right? So this is called anchoring, okay? Humans, we tend to do this. We find the unicorn and then everyone latches onto the unicorn. You know what else will ring a bell in your mind? Have you noticed everybody says, oh, Amazon dropped 93% in 2001 and then it went up only for 20 years. Everyone says that, man. It's the unicorn. What about the 40,000 other businesses that didn't make it? Of course, no one's going to say that because everyone believes we are the chosen one. We are the one who made it. We are all the unicorns. And we only know there's only a few unicorns, but everyone says they are. Okay? So all these are just talking points and they're memes. They just got to convince everyone what to do, right? So we know gold, man, 600k. If Bitcoin gets there, 600k. So we've already figured out you got to go from 40 million people to 200 million people. Now, when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, damn, man, these Bitcoin maxis, something's going on because they've pivoted the narrative. They're now focusing on gold because, you know, like I've said, they either haven't, they really know deep down they've lost to Ethereum. We have the Ethereum chart here. They know deep down they've lost, right? If you want to see the relative performance, you got to look at the ETH BTC chart, okay? Don't know what the ratio is going to be in the future, but a flippening is 0.16. So you got to understand, right? Bitcoin people in the tribe, okay? Bitcoin people, let's draw a little stick man, okay? People in the Bitcoin tribe, when they see Ethereum's updates, that they are burning more Ethereum, that they're getting more adoption, the Bitcoin maxis do not look at Ethereum and openly say to the public, wow, these guys are getting deflationary. They have harder money than us. They won't say that. They won't even give them credit. They'll just say their own talking points. Like, oh, there is security. Oh, it's not right. Oh, this or that. It doesn't matter, right? Who cares? However, what later happens is they will then transform their message in the background without you knowing, and they will shift and they will pivot to try onboard the next round of people, okay? So the Bitcoin maxis will not tell you, crap, Ethereum is going to flip us. They're not going to tell you that. Instead, they've gone and done what I've told you they're doing. They go, hey, screw Ethereum, screw crypto and everything else, right? We are the real blockchain. Let's go after gold. Gold has 12 trillion market cap, you know? That's a lot of money that can pour into Bitcoin. A lot, you know? 20 to 30x, man. That's big. That's what they're thinking about. And guess what's going to happen, friends? If we are lucky enough one day to see Bitcoin at 600k, you know they're just going to move the targets up. Of course they are. The next target, you know what the next target's going to be? Instead of 600k, it's going to be like 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. And those numbers, you can map them out, right? There are, right? So BTC at 600k equals 12 trillion. Let's say that's gold, okay? Let's say we actually reach that point, right? Wow. You can think, oh, we've made it. No, they're going to pivot the narrative again. Next is, so world cash sitting out there equals 40 trillion. World cash. So they will be saying, hey, we're actually worth more than cash, right? Even though you're not, because cash is like very short-term duration, right? Store of value. Not long-term, very short-term, right? They're going to say that. And then guess what? Maybe if one Bitcoin hits 40 trillion, what else are they going to say? We are better than property. You know who says that already? Michael Saylor. He says, don't buy New York real estate. Bitcoin is better. It'll last 100 years because because property, you can't control the government. It's inferior. It's not digital cyberspace. You can't move your property around the world. You see how the narrative is going to shift? By the way, property is about 200 to, let's just say 250 trillion in the world. Right? You see how you can keep going up and it's just bigger each time? So we're still at what, like, you know, this market cap like 400, 500 billion. That's why they're saying, hey, we got to target gold. And then when we get to gold, they're gonna go after something else. Okay, world cash out there, 40 trillion. And then we're going to go after something else, then property. They're going to keep going for higher and higher. Where's it going to go? There's no point predicting that. You just got to get early enough, right? If you get early enough, when you take the most amount of like risk, what other people perceive as risk. Remember, I don't see it as risky if you're early, right? Other people do. So if you're early, you don't take as much risk. But other people do think you take as much risk. But in reality, look if you look from my side, right, of the fence, I'm saying, well, you don't have many targets to cross, right? The targets are so low, right? That's how low it is. You don't have to do anything, you know? It's really, really important to think about, okay, who am I going to conquer, you know? Like you're Mike Tyson in the ring, you know? You're like 17 years old now, and they've just put you some, like, drunk guy out from a bar, you know? You can knock him out, no problem, yeah? That's when you want to bet on Mike Tyson in the ring. He's beating drunk people at a bath. He's beating up, like, you know, people his age, right? People who don't have any professional experience. That's who he's fighting. When people get excited is when they're on TV, when everything's mainstream. When Mike Tyson is now approaching heavyweight champion, and now he's actually got to fight the best in the world, the heaviest hitters, then people want to get excited. Now they're like, all right, now it's time to bet on this guy, you know, but that's actually the most risky, right? It's the most risky now. He's got the most competition. The network effect of him is already the biggest, okay? Same thing for this. Exact same thing for this. So we got to listen. We listen to the Bitcoin Maxis. Their marketing message is pivoting. I'm noticing that, showing it to you. And it's not, we're not here to fight. I'm telling you, we can all win, man. We can all win. Because does gold compete with the stock market, right? Because you could say Bitcoin's like gold and Ethereum is trying to compete with like Apple and the stock market, you know, the tech sector. Two completely different things, right? So here's ETH BTC. Even though ETH BTC will probably flip and people in the Bitcoin tribe will say, no, we are the chosen ones, right? So maybe, I'm just saying maybe, these are maybes, okay? You know, something to think about. Bitcoin competes with gold. That's 500 billion versus 12 trillion. Also, Ethereum competes with Apple plus tech sector, right, of stocks. Ethereum is what, like 250 billion versus Apple itself is 2 trillion, right? And then you got to add the other parts of the tech. So maybe that's 10 trillion, right? Maybe that's 10 trillion, friends. You know? That's what it's competing with. Got to think. And then there's going to be other applications that come in and compete. You're going to have other crypto, right? They're going to compete. We've seen Facebook and social media, right? What if there are other elements that come in crypto? Chainlink is going to be the infrastructure, right? Even Doge is competing to be like the Disneyland experience, the fun comedy experience of crypto. There's a part for everything. The sectors are, there's so much upside, man. We don't know how all the pieces are going to fall, right? It's all about the lion's share of what type of value you can attract, okay? And you know, doesn't even matter how good you are, man. If you're too late, the game gets exponentially harder, friends, and then we become just like the stock market boomers. We're fighting over 10% per year. Until next time, friends.